The Palestinian-Israeli conflict. This is an ongoing conflict in the Middle East that has caused both nations to become divided. Its earliest origins can be traced back to popular Zionist movements in the early 19th century. It all started in 1917 when the British government recognized that the Jewish population needed to establish a homeland and needed a country to call home. In 1947, the UN then voted to split Palestine into a Jewish and Arab state with a small international zone in between. This was the start of something terrible. The Arabs tried to attack immediately, but their first attack failed to destroy the newly formed nation of Israel. The conflict lasted 2 years and ended in 1949. In this short time, over 500 towns and villages were destroyed, and over 16,000 lives were lost. After this conflict, Israel controlled 78% of Palestine, and the land was divided as shown. In 1967, another conflict arose, and Israelis launched a surprise attack and took the remaining 22% of Palestine. In this fray, the Israelis accidentally hit a U.S. naval ship, injuring 200 Americans. The U.S. didn't get involved in the conflict and said, quote, they didn't want to embarrass an ally. The lack of effort other countries put into stopping this conflict may be why it's lasted so long. After a failed attempt by the Arab countries to get their territory back in 1973, in 1987, Hamas was created, and they believed Israel didn't deserve to exist. In the early 90s, Hamas launched attacks on Israel and denied to sign peace treaties that both the Palestinian Liberation Organization and Israel were willing to sign. In 1994, a Palestinian political group called Fatah emerged. They weren't much better, but they made an effort to recognize Israel. Because the two groups' ideals were so vastly different, they severely clashed. Eventually, the Israelis moved out of the Gaza Strip, but soon after they left, a Hamas majority was elected in Palestine. This caused much unease between the two countries, and many rocket attacks and raids followed. Eventually, in 2008, both nations agreed to a 6-month peace treaty. But after this treaty expired, things went back to normal. Another ceasefire was agreed in 2014, but as we all know, that was short-lived, as the conflict still continues today. The Iron Dome was deployed in 2011, and it may be a step in the right direction. It is a system to help defend large towns and cities from rocket attacks by launching a rocket to intercept and destroy the one sent towards Israel. Some doubt the effectiveness of the Iron Dome, and although it is very expensive and costs $50 million per battery and $20,000 per interception, at the very least, it discourages the launching of rockets into Israel. There may be some hope in the future, as Hamas has stated that they will cease fighting for 10 years if Israelis agree to retreat to their 1967 borders and allow Palestinian refugees from 1948 to return to what is now Israel. We can hope for peace in the future, but in the end, only time will tell.